nothing, no drug can ever equate to that experience. Like, there's nothing out there. It's just, your mind is just, well, for me, it was just gone.
On June 12, 2005, a 21-year-old Ashley Parlier of Battle Creek, Michigan, had an argument with her parents and left the house. She disappeared without a trace and was never seen again, with everyone, including family and friends, under suspicion for years. The case did not lead anywhere for over a decade. It took 18 years for the police and the Parlier family to get answers that they were seeking all along. So, where did Ashley Parlier go? Could it have been an instance of foul play? Welcome back to Mysterious Hook, where we shed light on under-the-radar cases from across the country. Today we are looking at the 18-year-old case of Ashley Parlier that reached its end in 2023. But first, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe and like buttons. Now, without any further ado, let's dive into the story. Battle Creek is a small city in southwest Michigan that not only offers inviting neighborhoods and friendly communities, but also a booming industry and incredible growth opportunities for its citizens. Known as the birthplace of the cereal industry, Battle Creek occupies a strategic location between states and a major highway that facilitates a steady inflow of tourists for its beautiful landscapes. Downtown Battle Creek is a thriving community with a strong suburban feel. Battle Creek, known for its natural beauty and recreational opportunity, is one of the best places in Michigan to raise a family. From the same thriving and friendly community, a 21-year-old tragically disappeared in 2005 without a trace. On October 16, 1983, Russell and Sherry Parlier had their second child, a baby girl who they later named Ashley. Ever since her childhood, Ashley had been a shy and quiet person. She also was very naive and innocent. When she got older, she did not make a lot of friends. Ashley's older sister, Nicole Campen, recalled that her sister was very trusting. She said, "One of the biggest things I remember about her is she was so trusting and she really just saw good in people. She wanted people to be what she thought the world should be, and that was good." Ashley had beautiful brown eyes and brown hair, and her smile with crooked teeth was really pretty. Ashley also had a mild mental disability that made her function at the level of a teenager between the ages of 12 and 14. Despite her problems, she managed to live life enthusiastically. She graduated from Battle Creek Central High School and got a job at the nearest Taco Bell restaurant in the 800 block of Northeast Capitol Avenue. She wanted to get her own car, for which she had been saving up some money from whatever she earned at Taco Bell. But sadly, Ashley, a young woman who wanted the world to be a happy place, had tragedy waiting for her just around the corner. And despite her kind and gentle nature, the world was not kind to her. 21-year-old Ashley Parlier had a lean build. At about 5 feet 9 inches tall, she weighed only 100 pounds. So on June 12, 2005, when her parents noticed that she appeared to have a bump, they were noticeably worried. After all, Ashley was too innocent both by nature and in her mental capacity. They feared for her health, so they wanted her to see a doctor and get prenatal treatment if she decided to carry the baby. Ashley had a huge argument with her parents about the entire incident and left the house upset. She took off from her house in Bedford Township in the Urbandale neighborhood, with no car, driver's license, cell phone, or credit card. However, she did have some cash amounting to about $700 with her. The family wanted to give her the time she needed to cool off, but Ashley never returned home. When minutes turned into hours and hours turned into days, the Parlier family panicked as they knew something was not right. Initially, they had believed that Ashley would spend a couple of days at one of her friend's house and cool down and then return home to them. But when she hadn't returned after multiple days and they were unable to get in touch with her, they were left with no choice but to report her missing to the police. The police did not have much evidence to work with or leads to follow, so they released Ashley Parlier's picture to the public, along with her physical description, in the hopes this would help them generate some leads. Along with her physical description and weight and build, they also released details of the outfit she was wearing when she went missing. She was last seen in a checkered shirt and a pair of blue jeans paired with brown leather sandals. It was not long after the police got numerous tips about sightings, especially in the Houghton Lake area. The family heaved a sigh of relief. They hoped that she would be found and they could then persuade Ashley to come back home. But the police soon gave the Parlier family bad news. All the sightings were false and could not be confirmed, so wherever Ashley was, she was not yet ready to come back home. The investigation reached stage 2, and the officer's initial doubt landed on Cherie and Russell, Ashley's parents, who had taken a while before finally filing a complaint. Her father agreed to take a polygraph test and was cleared. But Ashley's mother, Cherie, declined to take the polygraph test. The important thing to mention here is that Cherie had already started to show signs of Huntington's disease, which was properly diagnosed a few years later. Ashley's sister, Nicole, clarified that not coming home for this long was definitely unusual behavior because Ashley had never done anything like that. But the family had believed that since they had a pretty big argument before she left, she was probably blowing off steam at a friend's place. They had assumed that she would come back home by the weekend and they would be able to work through the situation. Nicole said that her parents were the last two to see her at that time, so the police had obvious concerns. She added, "Again, we are a small-town Michigan family. We never thought that this would be a 16-year ordeal of trying to figure out where a daughter and sister is." The police also tried searching for her then estranged boyfriend. At some point in months before she disappeared, they had broken up, but police and Ashley's family believed that she was carrying his child. At the time of the interrogation, he had another girlfriend who was also pregnant. He was not ruled out as a suspect, but the detectives could not find any evidence against him. Ashley's friends and close relatives were also questioned, but again no clue came into light. However, another angle emerged. The officers learned that Ashley may have been suicidal. The police suspected that if she had taken her own life, then they would be able to find the body somewhere. So, the police actively searched for her body. Nothing of substance could be found. Then they theorized that maybe Ashley was robbed, but there had been no change in her social security number all the while she was gone. By now, the police were ready to give the Parlier family more bad news. They informed her family that they suspected foul play, and it was likely that Ashley was already dead. They also assured the family that they were not giving up on her. They continued an extensive search to find Ashley Parlier, but the case eventually went cold. Over the span of the next 18 years, several officers from Battle Creek Police Department worked on Ashley's case. Her disappearance became a mystery for the whole department because they kept finding persons of interest, but there was never any valid evidence against any of them to make them a suspect. In the year 2020, when they suspected that she might have been murdered outside of Battle Creek City, they assigned the case to the Sheriff's Department. It was only in 2021, when they were least expecting it, that they had a breakthrough in the case. Having gone nowhere for around 16 years, the case had turned cold. But then something happened that would change everything. Pennsylvania law enforcement contacted Calhoun County officers when they unexpectedly found a lead in Ashley Parlier's case. In January 2021, Pennsylvania detectives were questioning 44-year-old serial killer Harold David Hallman III for the murder of two different women, Tiana Phillips and Erica Schultz. At that time, Hallman asked the officers if they could merge all three cases of Phillips, Schultz, and Parlier because he did not want a trial. The police had not mentioned Ashley Parlier anywhere during the conversation. In fact, they were not sure what he was talking about. So they further interrogated him about the Parlier case, and what they found was shocking. The police had not mentioned Ashley Parlier anywhere during their conversations. In fact, they were not sure what he was talking about. So they further interrogated him about the Parlier case, and what they found was shocking. It was not just a lead, but a full-blown confession.
You wanted to see what it felt like.
In a way, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a curiosity of mine, of course. It's part of the reason it happened, yes. That's part of the reason. And I did. Nothing, no drug can ever equate to that experience. Like, there's nothing out there. It's just, your mind is just, well, for me, it was just gone.
The detectives immediately got in touch with the Calhoun County Police Department to inform them about the new development in the case. When Calhoun County PD took over, their investigative efforts revealed that Hallman had lived in Battle Creek between 2002 and 2009, and he had been in touch with Parlier. Police learned that Hallman had been in contact with Parlier after Ashley had the argument at home. She visited him at his home in Emmett Township, Michigan. Ashley told him that her parents wanted to get a pregnancy test. Later, Ashley and Hallman ended up in an argument, so Hallman knocked her unconscious after assaulting her, and then took her to the Pennsylvania hills, where he bashed her head in with a piece of wood until she did not move anymore. He also informed them that he left Ashley somewhere in the northern part of Newton Township and then gotten rid of his bloody clothing. Harold David Hallman III was born on November 29, 1978. He had been living in Germany with his father in his early teens until he was a young man, but then his father left for Turkey and Hallman stayed behind to live with his girlfriend. At that time, he appeared to be a normal young man. Nobody would have guessed that he would have grown up to be a serial killer. The first time Hallman took someone's life was when he was 20 years old. Joseph Whitehurst, a 21-year-old son of an Air Force colonel, was living at a military base in southwest Germany. On May 30th, 1999, he disappeared and was found outside Ramstein Air Base. A few days later, he had been bludgeoned to death using a club that was found at the crime site. When German police captured Hallman for an unrelated crime, he confessed to killing Whitehurst when he had started dancing around the campfire. Hallman said that he felt threatened by Whitehurst, so he attacked him first. Hallman also told the police, "It was the biggest rush I ever felt. Like your whole body. To this day, I don't know how many times I hit him, and then I was gone." Despite his confession, he was only sentenced to a 6-year term at a German reform school. According to German law, a person below the age of 21 has to be tried in a juvenile court. Besides, Hallman was also diagnosed with schizophrenia at the time, which led to a more lenient sentence. He then came back to America and lived near Battle Creek, Lakeview, and the Fairfax Addition in Emmett Township, and was employed as a truck driver. It was around this time that he seemed to have a huge role in the disappearance of Ashley Parlier in 2005. Later on June 13, 2018, a mother of 2 children, Tiana Phillips, disappeared. When he was finally under arrest 3 years later, and police were interrogating him, he confessed that he hadn't actually wanted to murder Phillips specifically, but he wanted to kill again. Erica Schultz had doubts about meeting a person she had online conversations with. She knew him as Dave. On December 6, 2020, Erica was reported missing. Erica had autism and was a woman of habit. So when she did not show up, the police checked her phone records and connected Hallman to her murder. In his confession, he casually mentioned that killing Erica Schultz was like just another day in the park for him. When he was arrested, he was found along railroad tracks in Duncannon, Pennsylvania, with a self-inflicted wound. He believed he needed to die for his sins. When Hallman was receiving treatment in the hospital, he admitted to killing Schultz and Phillips. When he was in jail, he wrote a confession letter to his estranged wife, detailing how he had killed Phillips, who he had relations with. He said that he wanted to confess to the crime to highlight the fact that he would never do something like that with her. It obviously freaked out his ex-wife, who took the letter to the police. She also mentioned that Hallman had claimed to have killed a woman earlier, but she had not believed him. The common characteristic of his crimes made him a serial killer. All his victims had disappeared. Every one of them had head injuries. He first attacked them and knocked them unconscious, and then he finished the job. He dumped the bodies to remote places without burying them. In fact, Phillips and Schultz were murdered on the same ground. Hallman has been charged with kidnapping, criminal homicide, and abuse of a corpse in the cases of Erica Schultz and Tiana Phillips. Calhoun County Sheriff's Department Detective John Pignatro said that Hallman was in a transient and without a permanent address in Pennsylvania in 2021. He blamed his family and unsuccessful marriage for everything that happened. He believed that there are alphas and there are non-alphas. That's just the way.
I mean, I killed him. I hit him in the head with a log and he died right there probably. I don't know exactly. It was dark. You know, we were sitting there by a campfire. I hit him hard, and I hit him multiple times.
There's the master and there's a submissive, or whatever you want to call it. That's the way life's built. So when his wife didn't submit to him, he had to look for that dynamic in extramarital affairs. After Parlier's death, Hallman researched serial killers.
In a way, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a curiosity of mine, of course. It's part of the reason it happened, yes. That's part of the reason. And I did. Nothing, no drug can ever equate to that experience. Like, there's nothing out there. It's just, your mind is just, well, for me, it was just gone.
When he was asked about which homicide he remembered the most, he consistently answered that he remembered them all with vivid details of what he did to them. Police were sure that he was a serial killer.
That stems from my wife, because I know when my wife was interviewed by the police, she kept saying that I could have killed up to 10 girls or something stupid. I heard all about it. There are no others. I have a clear conscience.
who had to be taken off the streets immediately. In fact, Hallman admitted that he hadn't been caught, he would have killed again. Hallman in his confession highlighted that he had met Ashley Parlier at a bowling alley where she had been with her parents. The court paper confession also highlighted that he initiated a conversation with her, which led to deeper relations later. When she had the argument with her parents,
it wasn't a goal of mine. It wasn't, let's see how many I can get away with. It wasn't like that for me. Like I legitimately did not want to do it again. And I legitimately had up,
She called Hallman and then visited his place. Ashley informed him that her parents were insisting on getting a pregnancy test. He confessed that he was the father of the child that Ashley was carrying. He got enraged by their subsequent argument and knocked her unconscious. Then on the evening of June 13, 2005, he bashed her on the head several times and killed her. He said it was a field, overgrown middle of nowhere, Michigan, and it's 10 miles from town. There's like a garage close by or something, or a small house, but it was empty. We sat there. I sat there kind of in my own world. Ashley was in the back, just out. He consciously decided to kill her at that spot. When he realized that he had found a good enough place when he was sitting with Ashley's unconscious body by his side. He also mentioned, I was sitting there and no cars drove by. The longer I sat there, the more I thought this is a good place as any. Then it happened. I took her out and took her to the spot and finished the job. He hit her and watched her die. Once he was sure that Ashley was no more, he went home and took a shower. Later, he disposed of his clothing at his then place of work at Meijer, an American supercenter. What is even more shocking is that he followed up the case for years and years. He even went to check on Ashley's remains at one point, but only found bones. Upon further questioning, he came forward with an apology to the Parlier family. Hallman denied having planned it out. He said he did not want that to happen with Ashley. He went on to say that he regretted Ashley's murder more than any of them. It should be noted that this confession was released in recent years, at a time when he had already taken multiple lives. Nicole, Ashley's sister, could not control her emotions when she got to know that Hallman said that Ashley had gone over to him for help, and she was just confused.
Closure for her remains, but I try not to put my hopes in that with him, because to me, it's more of a power thing for him. It's one more thing he gets to kind of have over us as a family. The hard part is my parents didn't get to hear this. You know, there was always kind of a cloud of suspicion over them being the last two to see her. That was known. It's kind of coined the term, bonded by sadness. It's going to be hard to stand in that room with him, but at the same time, he's not going to have the power. Yeah, we're not going to allow it. I have to control how much space he has in my life, in my home, and he gets very little. We're going to remember our sisters. We're going to remember Ashley and Tiana and Erica, and not him. We're going to remember how they were good people who loved and were caring, and he's just going to rot.
She was horrified that despite this knowledge, Hallman had murdered Ashley in cold blood. Hallman believed that things had gone out of hand, and he lost control and killed her. On one hand, he said that he felt so bad after ending her life that he was drunk for 3 weeks straight. He wanted to forget that it had ever happened. On the other hand, he explained the entire killing process gave him a kind of ultimate adrenaline rush that could be compared with nothing. Nicole was disheartened to know that his apology was just another way of showing his heinous act off. She said, "It was really hard for them not knowing. My mother, her Huntington's, progressed very quickly due to grief and depression. My father was the same. Being a parent myself, I know what they were going through. It's hard to understand what type of person could do that. I could never imagine wanting to hurt someone that badly." Hallman accepted that he could say no words to comfort the family, but he would be willing to beat up with a log if they wanted to do that. Nicole was not happy with the apology. She not only lost her sister, but also lost her parents, who died in grief and confusion. She believed that Hallman took more than just Ashley's life, and it was the truth. The number of people Harold Hallman had killed was more than just the number of his direct victims. Many of his victims' loved ones had passed away never knowing what happened to their family. Nicole made a social media page with the name Bring Ashley Home. through which she got in touch with the older sisters of the other Pennsylvania victims. They believe that they are bonded by sadness and have developed friendships. She said that the other older sisters of the other Pennsylvania victims are going to join Nicole when she gives her victim impact statement on behalf of the whole Parlier family on April 10th at Hallman's trial. She said, "We're going to remember our sisters."
Kind-hearted, and that, unfortunately, that's what the kind-heartedness and trustworthiness is how she lost her life. That's how Tiana lost her life, and that's how Ashley lost her life. They just wanted friends, and
we're going to remember Ashley and Tiana and Erica, and not him. We're going to remember how they were good people who loved and were caring, and he's just going to rot. It had been 18 years since Ashley left her house after arguing with her parents. She never returned home. After what happened to her, the police were determined to bring her back home. They turned over every stone possible to find answers over the years. So when Harold Hallman came forward with the confession, the police wanted him to show them the place where he had left Ashley's body. The officers in prosecution believed that the case of Ashley Parlier was a very emotional and very labor-intensive case. It had been almost 2 decades since the first investigative officers tried finding answers. Over the years that followed, multiple detectives were assigned to the Parlier case. When they couldn't find the answers within the city, they even traveled across the country to locate potential witnesses and find necessary evidence against the culprit. Sheriff Steve Hinckley informed the media in March that the officers had traveled to California, Maryland, and Pennsylvania to investigate Parlier's case. Calhoun County Sheriff's Department Detective John Pignatro, Detective Dave Huminga, and Detective Sergeant Chris Suarez of the Michigan State Police were part of the investigation team. Hallman led the police to a wooded area at a 6.5-mile road in Newton Township, which is south of Battle Creek. Almost 24 officers searched for Ashley's remains on March 30th, 2022. After they carried out the search for several hours, they could not find her body. People residing in the area informed the media that at the time of Ashley's disappearance, the area used to be farmland, but within a few years, the entire area was divided up and sold to different property owners. All the efforts by the officers went in vain. Hallman admitted that after all these years and the development that had happened in the area, he could not properly place where he had left Ashley. The police are still on the hunt to find Ashley's remains. Unsurprisingly, the man who had already killed 3 women and possibly more was afraid to get the death penalty. He was sentenced to 2 terms of life in prison. He was not granted any form of parole. In February of 2023, Hallman pleaded guilty to the second-degree murder of Ashley Parlier. He agreed to help Calhoun County Police find the remains of Ashley in the area where he allegedly disposed of her. It is part of the plea deal with the Luzerne County District Attorney's Office in exchange for not receiving the death penalty. He faces up to another life sentence in prison and is scheduled to be sentenced in April 2023. The Calhoun County Sheriff is still looking for any information that would be useful in Ashley Parlier's case and finding her body. If you know something, then contact the office of Calhoun County Sheriff at 269-781-0880. Every minute is difficult when a loved one goes missing. Imagine 18 years of hurt, grief, and sadness with only a tiny sliver of hope that someday they could return. Imagine the confusion about whether to keep waiting or just leaving the saddening experience behind. Ashley's parents, Cherie and Russell, died in the spring of 2020 without ever knowing what happened to their daughter. Imagine the pain and the agony they suffered in the end when they realized that they would never get to know what happened to Ashley, especially since she had left the house being angry with them. Imagine how they had to live their lives when everyone from true crime enthusiasts to police to the media had active suspicions against them about the disappearance of their own daughter. But Ashley's story finally received closure. Even if it was after 18 years, she may have not come home yet, as the police are still trying to find her remains, but at least her family knows what happened to her. Do you think Harold Hallman could have other victims? What do you think about Hallman's apology? Did he really suffer from some mental disorder, or does he kill people for pleasure? Let us know in your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, stay safe.